government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
Okay, welcome back everyone to Anonymous Bites Back. We are live again with whistleblower David McBride. Well known by now for speaking out about crimes committed by the Australian military in Afghanistan. We have had 2 interviews with him before. You can find them back on YouTube channel. And he is at a whistleblower event now, right, David?
I am. I'm down in Melbourne, and there's something called Photo 2021, which is an international exhibition of sort of great photographers from around the world. And one of the major exhibitions is something called Agonistes, which is pictures of whistleblowers like myself, some of whom are still anonymous, and they've got their photos up on the major cathedral of Melbourne with a short story about what they saw and what happened to them. Most of them lost their jobs or are facing jail like me. But it's quite stark, and she's done sort of photos a bit like Roman statues, where she took 100 different cameras, taking a 3D shot and then making sort of statues. So we all look like we're sort of dead, I guess. But it's kind of haunting. And I guess the theme of Agonistes, which is some sort of ancient Greek, many of you will know about, and it's the idea of people speaking up and either not being believed or being believed, but it not turning out well for them. Sort of Greek tragedy. But I like to think there's something life-affirming about it, that the fact that we're all standing together, or our photos are all placed together a bit like gravestones, it's quite haunting, and it makes people who walk down the centre of Melbourne think about the sacrifice. And it's right in the shopping centre, so everyday people are seeing it and looking at it, and I hope it can only help Julian Assange as well. People start thinking about the fact that you don't necessarily have to be an international celebrity like Julian Assange to be a sort of a whistleblower, and a lot of these people are everyday people that worked in child care or disability care or refugee care, and some of them are doctors, and everyday people who saw what our government has gone off the rails, and we just don't follow our own laws, and anybody that tries to point it out suddenly becomes an enemy of the state. And while it's a small thing, it's great to see. It's great to see that these grassroots are being so. And at the same time, perfect timing. The Australian government's under a lot of pressure because one of their ministers, in fact, the Attorney General, the guy who's meant to be prosecuting me and all the other whistleblowers, is under a cloud because somebody has made an historical but very disturbing rape claim against him, and his answers to it have been very not particularly satisfying. And it's really you live by the sword, you die by the sword. The government's coming out and saying, "Oh well, people are innocent until proven guilty," which is very true, but that's not the attitude they take with whistleblowers and any enemies of the state. And so the contrast between what the government says and what the government does is being illustrated in sharp contrast. In fact, tonight there's another expose on Australian ABC broadcasting, the equivalent of the BBC, and it could well be, if there's more revelations about more rapes by government members, it really could shake the government to its core. It certainly brings it into stark relief that they're trying to put people like me, Bernard Collaery, Julian Assange in jail for doing what we really should have done, doing the right thing, and that plenty of people in the government who are trying to put us in jail are under clouds because of their own personal behaviour, which is what I always suspected. I mean, you'd have to be a bit of a psychopath to really want to put whistleblowers in jail for the rest of their lives. But it's actually coming to fruition now, where there's a lot of question marks over members of the government. And the whistleblowers are looking better and better. So it's an interesting space for you overseas listeners to look at of what's going on in Australia at the moment. I've done a lot of tweets about it, and you can see them, and we can start pushing it around and see what happens. Exciting time to be involved in activism.
Hey, and what other whistleblowers are there being featured at the event? Do you have some examples?
Well, there's a guy that you would have heard of, Bernard Collaery. He was a lawyer, and he uncovered the fact that the Australian government illegally used their security services, our people like the CIA, to bug the East Timorese, a very, very poor nation, one of the poorest nations in the world. But we used our security services to bug their cabinet offices. There's the most secretive government office. And we didn't just do it for Australia. We didn't do it for Australia's benefit. We did it for oil companies' benefit. We gave the information that we got to an oil company so the oil company could get a better deal against this very poor nation. So it's pretty disgusting. And this guy, Bernard Collaery, along with the guy who was a spy who actually did put the bugs in, they said, look, this is not right. This is not Australia. We don't use our security services, to benefit corporations. And they spoke up about it, and now they're facing jail, like me, for a long time. And it's very embarrassing for the government, and it's totally unrelated to my case, but it illustrates the same thing, that the security services are being used as kind of corporate bully boys rather than actually defending the nation. And there's a doctor who was appalled by the treatment of refugees in the camps, and she was also, what was interesting about her case is she wanted to speak up about it, and the government tried to put her in jail for speaking up about it. And she got a whole group of doctors together, and they took it to the highest court in Australia, and they won to say you can't tell doctors that they're not allowed to speak about patients' health just because it's inconvenient for the government. But it shows you what a police state Australia has become when even a doctor that says, a bit like speaking up about concentration camps, and even the doctor that speaks up about what's going on is put in jail, and the government doesn't think there's anything wrong with that. There was quite a few refugee advocates who saw abuse. One was a psychologist, and most of the people that worked on this refugee camp, Island Manage, left in disgust. But this woman had the bravery to start planting secret cameras in the refugee island and filmed all the terrible things going on, and she became a whistleblower. And again, they want to put her in jail, and all these people are threatened with never getting a job again. And it really exposes the fact that Australia has become, it's become a real police state. And while we tend to look back, look down our noses at what happened in Germany in the 1930s, we are getting to that stage now where people, the government is always right. The government can make things up, and anybody that speaks up against the government, even professionals like lawyers, like myself, like doctors, like that one that spoke up, they get crushed by the government, and nothing happens. And so it makes their failure to support Julian Assange all the more stark, because in so many small ways they don't do the right thing. They think they can keep things secret, and what they're trying to keep secret, as in the Bernard Collaery case, is absolutely criminal. I mean, there's no way the security services should be bugging other countries for an oil company. And so the idea that this is a national security risk is just ridiculous. It's something which is embarrassing. It would show it. If the government have their way, they'll try to say the rape allegation against the senior minister is national security, It shows you how ridiculous. Anything which embarrasses them is national security when it clearly isn't. And we have become a bit of a police state in Australia. And hopefully that's slowly being exposed. But it's online, if you can see it, Photo 2021. And Agonistes, the photographer is a woman called Hoda Asfar. She was born in Iran, educated in Iran, and she's got a very interesting life story. And so her exhibitions are always very thought-provoking because she's got a very good perspective. She lives in Australia now, but she's obviously seen a lot of the world, having grown up in Iran, and I think you'll find her work very, very inspiring and very amazing, really. So check her out online.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's always interesting to hear that whole, oh, well, by leaking documents, they put our national security at risk. It's always so crazy to hear that argument because it's the crimes they committed that put the country's people at risk. It's the crimes themselves committed that are being exposed by whistleblowers are the national security risk, not the people revealing them, not the people revealing something which is very much in the public opinion, because the public deserves to know when their government is committing war crimes, because technically those war crimes are being committed on their behalf with their tax dollars. So it's asinine to think that exposing that is somehow some kind of risk.
Yeah, no, look, I totally agree with that. And this is one of the things it's maddening, but we'll get there in the end. The idea that Edward Snowden or Julian Assange are more of a security risk than Mike Pompeo, when they're not. And they're actually standing up for what's right, standing up for the Constitution and the US brand and all that kind of thing. That's something we need to shake with people, but people just seem to believe it. National security, secret trials, all these trials in Australia are secret trials because the government don't want people to find out. It is a kind of a slow process, but hopefully we're beginning to reverse that slow process, and that's why in some ways I want a trial, because it slowly brings it into light that I'm standing there in my suit and I used to be a lawyer for the government, and I've got 3 law degrees and I'm fairly experienced, and the idea that what I exposed, the things that I released, somehow damaged national security seems increasingly tenuous, when all I was saying was that there's corruption and war crimes in the government, and the key thing is, if we have a corrupt government, if we have people doing the wrong thing in our name, that damages national security far more than the leaking of a few low-level documents. Yeah, that's the message we need to keep pushing across. I mean, a corrupt and barbaric country, say like in Germany in the 1930s and 40s, I mean, they risked their own national security. They were destroyed, they were rebuilt. But there's nothing which risks national security to a country more than corrupt government. We create terrorists. We don't only create terrorists, but we create terrorists with a legitimate beef against us if we don't honour human rights. And it's particularly disgusting, I guess, I can't think of a better word, when our touchstones of our democracy are meant to be truth, justice, and we don't. We say that, but we don't apply it. So you can't blame people for wanting to fight us. And the important thing about any war of the worlds or any clash of civilizations is you need to have the moral high ground. If you've got the moral high ground, you'll ultimately win. But if everything we say is a lie, and we say we believe in the rule of law and democracy, but we put truth tellers in jail, and we reward those who lie and cheat, we lose that moral high ground. And no matter how draconian our measures become, our civilization will eventually fall. And so that's an existential threat to national security. Not only the fact that we commit crimes at a high level, but that we cover them up rather than expose them.
Yeah, no, it's insane. And not only that, but just the smear campaigns that a lot of whistleblowers have to face from the media just for revealing information in the public's interest, like with the massive smear campaign against Julian Assange, that he's a rapist, that he's a narcissist, that he's just a dickhead, that he's this and this and this. And, you see it with Edward Snowden, that, he's a Russian agent. And all this stupid crap to just try and discredit whistleblowers. I'm curious as to how the media has received the cases of the whistleblowers that you mentioned, like Bernard Collery and the doctor and the refugee worker.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Bernard is a really good weapon up my sleeve, and he in that he's a very establishment type of guy. He was the Attorney General for one of our states. He wears a suit every time you see him. He's 70 years old. And I don't think anyone's ever tried to smear him, which is good. But they just don't seem to think about it. But that is quite good for me, because most whistleblowers, you're right, are smeared. And one of the disconcerting things about all the posters of the 10 whistleblowers is almost all of them lose their job or go to jail. And but they don't they don't lose their job ostensibly for whistleblowing. You know, it says something like they were moved on for inefficiency or they were moved to another. In fact, there's actually a playbook, which of course comes from America. It's like how to deal with high conflict employees. And it's like move them to another location, like move them to the desert. You post them to, demote them and post them and try to, how to force them to leave. And this is what they did with me. They sent me to a psychiatrist, and a government-appointed psychiatrist who tried to tell me it was all in my own head and that I was a narcissist. He told me I was he was very charming because I didn't cotton on to it to begin with. He put me on antidepressants and he said, "Oh, look, you understand." This is after about our third session. He brought up the narcissist word, and at the time I didn't think much about it. But then a few years later, a journalist exposed the fact that there was quite a few whistleblowers against our equivalent of the IRS, the Australian Taxation Office, and they too were sent to psychiatrists. And they too were told that they were narcissists or it was all in their own head. And part of the investigative journalist uncovered the fact that there was a conference held in America about how to deal with high conflict employees, as we're called. And in that conference, one of the sort of topics was, I think actually this is the title of a book that some smartass wrote, calling "It's All Your Fault." Basically, how to make whistleblowers think that it's their fault and it's in their own head. And it's really quite sinister, but this is kind of like a government, and they probably use it for the big corporations as well. You know, they have a policy of how to gaslight whistleblowers. And it's pretty disgusting. But yeah, most of the people lose their job. And of course, they don't lose their job for whistleblowing, but there's some other excuses made up. Now I've got to go to the airport, otherwise I'm going to miss the flight. But it's been great to talk to you guys.
Yeah,
I hope I've given you something. Sorry,
Thanks for bringing this all up. It's really good to hear about all these other whistleblowers, and it just kind of reminds people that, you can do this. Hearing that there's so many people exposing the state this way.
And hopefully you'll get some listeners who can say that happened to me. People talk about being gaslighted by people who try to make it sound like it's all in your imagination. I imagine there's lots of examples like that, and they're probably successful. But so topic for conversation. Great to talk to you guys. I'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, next week we'll do a longer episode together, and let's go into details about all these whistleblowers and.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great.
Let the man get off the phone, Lubers. We can close out the show.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I got something else to say. Just kidding.
Take care, David, and we'll be back. Okay.
That's it's a fantastic project, and I feel like the art project, that's rad. We should do that.
That's dope. We got any artists? Slide into our DMs.
So, Kendra tried to get the We Are Millions display in a couple of different art galleries in Denver and got the neoliberal smear treatment response to who Julian is and all of that shit. Really disappointing that it's a fucking art gallery. At what point do you as the gallery owner go, you know what? I only want corporate art here. I only want art that members of the pundit class would want to buy in my gallery. I don't know, man. I don't know. We got different ideas about art.
Not one of those fucking chumps.
But yeah, just finding a gallery or a place to display would be. I mean, like that alone would be an interesting process to document. You know what I mean?
I think it's weird that he mentions 10 different whistleblowers and that we've never even heard of these people. At least I didn't hear about them, right?
Yeah, no, this is all new names to me. I'm
Yeah.
just now looking at the article.
But I mean, it's fascinating to hear about them and hear just that it's kind of a conglomerate of whistleblowers helping bring attention to these issues. And again, I say this because it needs to be emphasized. Like, anyone can do this. Anyone can be a David McBride. Anyone can be a Julian Assange. Anyone can be a Chelsea Manning or Edward Snowden. You just have to, yeah, realize it and take solidarity with them, and then annoy the empire in your own way. You can always fight the national security state, and you don't have to be, a big shot to do this. Anyone can do this. That's where the hashtag like "We Are All Assange" comes from. Like, we all can do this. Take some pride and agency in that.
Yeah, and I think we need to all work together to give more exposure to all these whistleblowers now. I think we actually need to include them in our hashtags and our Twitter storms. Their cases.
Hey, Lubers, let's try and get Claire Laughlin, the criminology professor who helped this artist round up or figure out which whistleblower she was going to use. This might be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, we should actually. I think we should, if we can, get all of them on eventually.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because like I said, like, we have never heard about them. So obviously they're being silenced in the media, and yeah, their stories need to be known. And it's okay, so they get this whole art project in Melbourne. But why aren't we hearing anything about it? What is going on? We hear it from David now, but this should be like all over Twitter, all these different stories of these people, and it's like
And
kind
you know
of.
what, man? They may be, but they may be subject to the same sort of shadow banning that all of our stuff is too.
Yeah, maybe. I am going to look into all of them now, but I mean, this is like one thing that Assange always told us, right? We need to all be like Assange and spread this information around. So I think it would be very valuable to include their stories in whatever hashtags we're using, like WikiLeaks related hashtags. Just have their stories told, and I'm glad David brings it to our attention now.
Yeah, well, and Bernard Collery is the East Timor whistleblower. Or it was like he exposed a huge spying operation that the Australian government had on East Timor. While East Timor was brutally torturing its own people. They were exploiting them for oil and shit.
Yeah. Okay. Should we drop the articles below the stream or something, or in the chat? Like,
Yeah, we'll drop the whistleblower for the article about the
About the exhibit.
art project. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We can't really do anything about the volume levels, Prime Cat. This is taking place in
in a
through
secret
wire, and
location.
it's
Super,
basically like a
super,
phone call.
super secret platform. But yeah, it's just something with the platform that we're using, and yeah.
Yeah, I know the audio. Yeah, you guys are a little low. I'm not sure. Like, I mean, David was a lot louder. But yeah, like, I don't know.
Yeah, and I can hear Steve fine, so
It could
I'm not
be.
sure what it is.
I have all my audio on max. That's weird. I have all my audio on max, and I could hear him fine.
Alright, I put the article in the YouTube chat too with my special mod powers.
Okay. So to listeners, I want to ask, just look into these cases. Because David mentions it to us now, and there's 10 whistleblowers, and they have all these unique stories. And even though Melbourne features them, the rest of the world doesn't seem to feature them. And so the coming days, we will try to reach out to them and get them on air with us. Here with ABB, and I'm pretty sure Steve and Glory will bring them on Slow News Day too if they want
Hell
to.
yeah.
So when we give them exposure, right, with the two different shows, that's at least a start.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm all for it. I am. We were just talking the other day about wanting to do a regular roundtable with different whistleblowers and censored content creators and stuff like that. So this would be fantastic. Love to get on that.
Yeah, because that whole story about Bernard Collery has to do about trials, secret trials going on. And he was never charged at all. There's secret trials going on. He isn't even charged. Let's see. And his home was raided by ASIO, and his client, Witness K, was detained. Mr. Collery and Witness K, a former senior spy, are charged with revealing national secrets, specifically allegations that Australia bugged East Timor's government building in 2004 to gain advantage in crucial oil and gas negotiations. And then his house was raided of the lawyer, and the witness was detained. And there were no charges put against them until after a final treaty was signed in New York in 2018, and that is 5 years later. And all this time there were these secret trials going on, and they were detained for 5 years without charges and anything. Like, this should be like world news. It should be everywhere. And then let me see. As I said, the ACT judge must now decide which issues will remain secret and which can be made public in the trial to come.
That's just like flat the fuck out. Taking place in the dark, even though people know or have been made aware that their government's conducting secret trials with somebody who hasn't been charged with anything. They're just like, yeah, well, we're busy. What the fuck?
Yeah, I'm just considering that this happens in like Australia. That this is even possible. Secret trials and locking people up for 5 years without charges. Like,
Well, I mean, Julian was detained in the embassy for 7.5 years. No charges. He's detained right now with no charges.
Yeah. Even the sentence, even the bullshit, jumping bail sentence that he was technically in there for, he's already served that.
And that was the longest sentence they'd handed out for that case in the modern era. He did
Yeah,
more
at
time
that-
for that than anyone in the 20th century or forward.
Yeah, at that time, out of 797 prisoners in Belmarsh, he was one of 2 people being held in there for charges related to bail.
Totally normal. So that's normal.
So that's normal.
Wow, should we, speaking of, shit, should we do that? Or if we're not, should we do a slow news day on Rockton later? Like about that?
seems wise to do that. Discover this, like, I think it is like, especially for the David McBride trial, it is also important. I think to show how the Australian government actually works. Like, yeah.
I mean, I'm down.
How are people in the chat responding to this kind of stuff? I mean,
Let's find out. Oh,
Ah,
sorry.
what was
Sure.
that?
I fucking thought it was the settings. Yeah,
Why
I don't
did
know
you
what's up.
ping?
I didn't mean to.
the word.
I don't know what's up with my audio. I really don't.
No, it was weird is that people say like, Steve, we can barely hear you, and then some
Guess
other
what?
guy,
I'm pinging you back.
and some other
Okay.
person says like, all we can hear from Mark is we can hear him typing and stuff. Yeah, sorry, I type
Yeah.
a lot and I read a lot.
I
Like,
can hear you type.
this is what I do on the show. Like, I want to like find out more stuff about things because I don't want to like say shit on air I don't know anything about. Like, I want to actually stick to what I do know things about. And yeah, so that's yeah. Okay. So I can.
Oh, I know what's up with it. It's with this particular app that we're using. If I'm not right on top of the microphone, nobody can hear me. I remember that from last week.
I think it was that way too. But I'm not using my normal microphone. So I'll just talk loud.
Okay, so that was about the secret hearings. And then there is another case of a former disability worker Says he was fired for complaining about lockable coffin for autistic kids. That is like really disturbing too. A coffin they can, oh yeah, and it literally gives a picture of the coffin, like some kind of box they put autistic kids in, and they can lock it from the outside.
What the fuck?
Like, why is it not world news? This should be everywhere.
Yeah.
This is torture. I mean, to kids. This is child abuse.
Lockable coffin.
Yeah, that Yahoo
Oh,
News
the
article.
headline. Yeah.
So,
And
go ahead. Sorry.
no, I'm just looking at the picture too. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like some wooden box, and they put. Okay, so and this, so in this whistleblower Karen Berger said she dismantled the box and informed the head office of its use. And then they're saying that whistleblowers in the industry have been punished for reporting cases of abuse. That's not acceptable anymore, she said. I was told that the box was for the purpose of putting clients in, she said. The person who told me was a team leader. No, this is too much. Like, this is child abuse, right? You can't do that.
Well, yeah. It is. It's fucking torture.
And
You're
quote from the
torturing
article too, she says, quote unquote, I said, how do you get the clients in the box? And he made a shoving, pushing motion as if he was mimicking pushing somebody into the box.
Yeah, that's gross. What article is that in?
One of them.
Yeah, so he posted 2 articles, right? About one about the secret hearings with witness K lawyer Bernard Collery from ABC, and he posted about the former disability worker. These are the 2 articles he posted in the little group chat we have here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Okay.
And you can see the comment. I think this is a case we have to give attention to, and that other case too about the secret trials. I think if we can get these guests on, whoever is involved in this case, we make a very powerful statement. What we should do, right? Give a voice to these people.
Yeah. The article gets even worse too.
Yeah.
That's just wow. And she's getting fucking Man, fuck everything.
Yeah, the reason why we don't hear about it in other countries and in our media, I'm going to assume is that if we heard this is happening in Australia, we might start to ask, well, shit, is anything this horrific happening here? And in light of the fact that now everybody knows that Andrew Cuomo is a mass murderer, and that New York State nursing homes weren't the only one where old people were just kind of shoved off to die. Like, yeah, it's entirely possible that some heinous shit with autistic kids is either currently going down or certainly has gone down.
Yeah. I mean, I would unfortunately have no doubt that there are similar stories to this in our great United States of America. Ugh.
And everybody knows that the Dutch are sick fucks. So
Well, I can tell you that no, this kind of stuff they would never do though. I mean, no. There are autism research centers. We have autism research center, but they don't lock people up in boxes. By the way, no, that would be for as a human rights situation impossible. All these people would be fired all at once. People in the chat
well,
are
I mean,
saying,
apparently, if you talk about it, you get fired and smeared and threatened with jail.
Yeah. Ugh. Fuck that.
But hey, Jeremy Hammond's out of the halfway house.
oh yeah, we can have how about
That's still good news.
yeah, we can have the good news again. Okay, of course, that's great news. He will be on the watch for 3 years. I just read that shortly after it. Like, I was hoping we could get him on the show, but he's not allowed to even be close to us.
Definitely not.
I told you that last night. I read that out. I
Yeah,
read that out to you. And then you immediately went, I bet we could get him on the show.
yeah. I didn't take it seriously, but then I saw it, right? I saw the file. Like, I didn't take it seriously. I thought, like, what the hell? Who cares? But then, no, he can't. He can't do it for 3 years.
Oh, that's such a fucking lubers thing.
Yeah, well, it is. But I was
Yeah,
just
so
eager to
Jeremy
get.
still faces 3 years of supervised release with special conditions prohibiting encryption, anonymity software like Tor, and from quote-unquote involvement or contract with any civil disobedience organizations. And you think he could come on Anonymous Fights Back?
Right? He probably couldn't even come on Slow News Day. Like,
Oh no, not
show-
anymore. I mean, you're all fucking ABB too.
right. I mean, and that show anyway is sort of an act of civil disobedience
Yeah.
in and of itself, just
Yeah.
by the
They
nature
like-
of who we have
Hey,
on and what we talk about. I mean, Jesus Christ, dude, like, fucking
know.
Keith McHenry was just on both of these shows.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
he's
bro,
like,
they-
oh, Jeremy, yeah, I know Jeremy. I know him from being a Food Not Bombs volunteer. I had no idea he knew how to use a computer.
Yeah. Bro, if we had Jeremy Hammond on Slow News Day, fucking Kevin would just be like, hey, y'all ain't slick. I was watching y'all on Anonymous Bites Back last night.
Right. Oh, here's you in front of the British Embassy in Washington, D.C. at your Free Assange event.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't you just publicly advertise that you're going back to Washington, D.C. to hold more?
Civil
Free
disobedience
speech
stuff.
Well, okay, yeah, I did that. Yes.
Aren't you publicly advertising a fuck censorship rally? Yeah.
There is
yeah.
that as well.
Didn't you guys do a deep dive into Klaus Schwab and try to resist the Great Reset? Well, when you put it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Shit. Vanessa Beeley comes on your show to unwind.
Same thing with Whitney Webb and Jared Beck.
It's a weird fucking world, ain't it? Ain't it? Like, that's just... It's a weird old world. It really is. Fucking cartoonish, even.
Oh,
Wow.
our man Sleepy J just said he had to refollow the Anonymous Bites Back account on Twitter, including David McBride's Twitter and your own Mark Luber's.
Yeah, I've seen it. Someone else replied to that too. That they automatically unfollowed us after this kind of stuff. So I'm not sure
I
what's
should
going
go
on.
check real quick.
So guys, if you're suddenly unfollowed any of us, please refollow us again. I mean, I don't know.
Followed from somebody.
Following. Your Mark Luber still following and sleep. Okay.
Yeah, you're
I'm
probably,
good
but
for now.
you're involved. You're in the people being unfollowed by the system.
Oh, I have 10 retweets and 8 likes on my promo tweet for this show.
Okay.
Shadow Van.
Right.
What the hell? They're like unfollowing us. Like what?
Oh, they just they took away 30 followers from my account since we went on the air this morning.
Let me look at my team.
Oh, I haven't lost
835.
any. But I'm going to keep that number in mind. 3207. Keep that in mind, Glory. Mental note.
In the same amount of time that we've got like 480 Rockfin subscribers, we've got 6 total on YouTube. You believe that, right? On the largest streaming platform on the planet.
No, it doesn't make sense at all. What a joke, right? I mean,
6 total. Total. 6 total.
Okay,
Right.
so what needs to happen.
We got more subscribers on Odyssey this week. I'm not even kidding. I'm not.
We need to pass our YouTube. We need to get Rockfin numbers to pass YouTube numbers. We need our Rockfin subs to pass our YouTube numbers. And if it's not shadow banned enough, if this is possible, we got to get Anonymous Bites Back to pass Slow News Day and YouTube subs.
Oh yeah.
Because that would be fucking amazing to have
Yeah.
Slow News Day have less subscribers than the other show that Steve and Glory spend half their time on.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, but we have a second YouTube for ABB that has a lot of subscribers, but completely unrelated. It's not even an anonymous YouTube channel. But we have another voice channel has 22,500 subscribers. That's about. We're also broadcasting to that channel. But that's just for storage reasons. So, yeah. It doesn't even get promoted, and it doesn't even have unique titles. It just says another voice live stream each time. So it doesn't get censored or whatever. There's no title, nothing in it. Yeah, no, exactly. But
Did you just rat on yourself?
yeah, no, I mean, this just is for the algorithm. It's not for like people. It's just the algorithm seems to mess around. If you have like if you have like things like COVID in your title, you can just get fucked over automatically.
Oh yeah.
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 And like if I had put David McBride in the title, perhaps we will be fucked over, like by the algorithms and yeah. So I mean, not for people. I mean, like, let them report stuff. I think we're not doing anything illegal that is reportable. So I think we're staying really nice. We could be doing it.
We are being very nice right now.
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all, but I'm on my best behavior.
Really? Oh, you're doing fine. Hey, do you have like do you guys have another show after this, or is it already done?
I don't know.
No,
do you see-
so I never heard back from Ford. So I don't know if we were going to do if we were going I mean, like, we should do it. We haven't done a Sunday Rockfin show in a minute, I don't think. But it's really, I don't know. I haven't figured that bit out yet. I don't know. There's a brand new conspiracy theory about our show that I do kind of want to address.
Okay.
We gotta go find that Mint Press article, though. I know, man. I know. I can tease it. I can tease it, and then I'll figure out if I want to talk about it tonight or not. I will all week. So, a few months ago, Whitney Webb got ripped off in the Coinbase crypto account that you have to open when you sign up on Rockfin, because Rockfin is a platform where content creators earn crypto by being on the platform. Nobody gets paid by Rockfin, right? That's not how it works. You get paid through whatever fucking crypto exchange network the platform is on per view, and people can subscribe, and Rockfin does take I think a little piece of that. At any rate, so Raul was co-writing articles with Whitney, or done research, and started the Unlimited Hangout channel with Whitney because he was running the tech end for it. Whitney, not tech savvy, really. Writer, walking encyclopedia. Not her own Sleepy Josh, right? And so this would be like Bizarro World Sleepy Josh, where Sleepy Josh is evil and thief. So he rips her off. We do a live stream about it. She sent me screenshots of text messages between her and Raul. We put them on the air. Raul showed up in the chat. We invited him on the show. He blocked me on Twitter after talking a bunch of shit. And I kept inviting him on the show, and he kept talking shit. So I took that as he declined. But we did give him the opportunity to come on and refute and bring whatever evidence he thought he had, and we would compare the two, and to see what happened. And at one point he threatened to sue me. I have not received any paperwork about being sued. And now apparently, as an article out in Mint Press of all fucking places, where he's positioned himself as sort of an anti-cryptocurrency crusader. Again, this is the dude who had the only access to the Coinbase account for the Unlimited Hangout podcast. And he's an anti-crypto crusader. And there's a whole big thing that stems from there. But this is next level. Previously, I had only been called the sum totality of the conspiratorial left by Tim Pool.
Tim
and the
Pool,
Daily
yeah.
Beast.
Well, Tim Pool was once part of the left, and then he was no longer part of the
Tim
left.
Pool was always a little fucking rat fuck piece of shit. Fuck Tim Pool.
I know. I remember him since Occupy. I mean,
I left the left. Oh.
you know, I remember him from Occupy.
he
I
was
mean,
at Occupy. He was up there with a fucking camera in everybody's face and fucking like showing everybody's fucking business right there on fucking Front Street all day long, and was a tremendous help to a bunch of different fucking private contractors and three-letter agencies that were looking for ways to exploit weaknesses within the fucking lack of organizational, although decentralized network leadership of Occupy. He was invaluable. Fuck that guy.
no, he pretty much.
Fuck Tim Pool.
No, he pretty much hijacked the public opinion about Occupy. That's what he did.
Fucking, fucking rode a little skateboard all the way to fucking, I don't know, dude. Being a fucking photojournalist for the NSA. I don't fucking know. I will fucking.
Yeah, well, I remember him, and Occupy was one operation where Anonymous was deeply involved with, and I know everything that this guy did. So, I know what he said. He said he was paid money to shut up. So he admitted on a podcast that he was hired by a magazine and he was paid money to shut up for years. And he was paid a lot of money to not do anything, just lay around being lazy all day. And then when he returned, it was all over already. And then he started with that podcast stuff. But before that, he was paid money to be silent. And if you sell out your beliefs and you silence yourself for money, to me, you're worthless, honestly. Like, I've never made 1 cent with activism, and I have a little...
Dude, he got kicked out of Venezuela because everybody thought he was a fucking snitch, because he's been acting like a fucking snitch since 2011.
Yeah, but I know, like, you guys have to like run a GoFundMe to even be able to pay for travels to to Washington and these events, right? And
right,
these guys
I still have to pay out of pocket.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like, really can't. But yeah.
See, that's what I mean. You have to run this stuff, or it's not even possible to travel there. And that's like real activism going on. And for me, like this is like 2 months ago. For the first time, I started this little Hive.blog thing. And when people upvote it, I get some cryptocurrency. I donate 100% everything away to this Yemen GoFundMe thing. Everything. I don't even make 1 fucking cent with activism. I never did in 20 years. And this guy, Tim Pool, he just accepts what? 100k, a million, I don't know what he got, but it's a lot of money to be silent about his work. I would never do that for money.
Fucking like millions of subscribers on YouTube.
I'm not smearing him here. I'm not smearing him even, because he said it on air, on a podcast. So
I have a friend who recently... a friend of mine recently wound up at his house for like a day, and he was just like, dude, it's insane. You're not like, it's too much. It like 2 giant fucking half pipes in the house, man, and like some shitty band just sort of hanging out, living Luke Rudowski in a fucking trailer outside because he's bored. Had nothing to do that week. The fucking IRL podcast studio in the fucking basement where they do like weird narrative management, war porn for hipsters all day long. Just weird.
Yeah, I know. So he probably will be sent this stuff and listening to us. He will hear this. But I will just say this again, that I'm just repeating what he said on air. And if you deny this, then you go back, listen back to the stuff you said yourself on the fucking podcast. You accept money to shut up, and that's not an option. If they pay me $1 million, I will not shut up about anything. I will probably accept it and donate it to the homeless, but they're not going to shut up about anything. Don't care about money. Could have wasted all my time. Instead of activism, could have been doing something else and making money, whatever. So that shouldn't be a motivation on things. But no, I mean, no, what the example I gave, because there's like, you guys run a GoFundMe to even be able to pay these travel costs, and there will still be people critical of that, right? And they will say like, why are these guys asking for money for a GoFundMe and stuff, right? And then
Yeah.
you have such guys, when they make millions, or at least 100,000s, and to just sell out, whatever.
Dude, we have straight the fuck up been smeared for like being fucking poor and needing to fundraise to go hold events by people who have also smeared us for being critical of independent media who has the resources to do this stuff and yet comfortably sits not covering any of it unless they're back into a corner, and then they'll cough up some like friendly words about free press.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who would smear anyone for being poor anyway? Like, that's like, so there is a lot of people in the activism world, and poverty is a strong motivation for them to even be in the activism world, because the system fucks people over, and the system gives money to the, as you call it, the predator class. They get rich, right? And normal people get fucked over for whatever reason. And so there is so many in the activism community that people are just poor, but it doesn't make them less legit or less intelligent or less motivated. No, they're
It's the trap that people fall into where somebody's not really allowed to be an authority or an expert on something unless they have a wall full of credentials that show that they have studied the lived experience of people like us who don't get to be called experts because we didn't study the things that we lived. We just lived it. You see what I'm saying?
yeah, but it's not.
Like upside down.
Yeah, but that's like this is like 1950s thinking, because I'm an autodidact on many things. I mean, I'm the coding I learned myself from books and from the internet, and I speak 5 languages. What makes me less credible than such people? I mean, when you talk about a subject, you just research this subject and you source your information. And if you source your information well, and you make sure that you also check out if the sources are reliable, right? It's fine. You give an opinion about something. I mean, and also what I think. Okay, so there's another thing. Like, okay, so you bring a doctor in. You bring a doctor in your show. Why would that doctor be more capable of talking about law than you are? Because he's a doctor. He's not educated in law. So. Even though you have like all these different credentials as a doctor, as a professor in some subject, it doesn't make you more credible when you talk about something completely different, like a different science. So, yeah, that is also a thing I don't get. But in this day and age, it's 2021. All the information is available online, and people can self-educate now. So I studied law in my 20s, but what you get is you have the law books. I have law books here on my cabinets, but they're written by 1 or 2 people. But on the internet, I can find opinions and observations of law by thousands of people, lawyers, judges, everything. To just base myself on 1 or 2 people who were part of the education would be destructive to my own knowledge. I can find far more on the internet about something, and it gets updated so fast too, like with different new cases, new whatever. So yeah, and that's the same as with history, for example. You have people who are well, we have Terence, for example. Terence has a master's in history, right? And so he knows a lot about it. But every month or every week even, there are new discoveries being done. Like in archaeology, or there are new things coming to light. And he also knows that he has to adjust whatever he knows about history, like based on that. He can't. So this is not like his education makes him aware of all these things. This is what's happening now, and you have to self-educate on things. So, that's all I'm saying about it.
There's a bunch of stuff going on in the Rock Band chat. Get to it.
Well, we have to discuss about Luke Rutkowski.
I live in Portland and I love seeing people walk in nice sunlight with their double masks. Our vocabulary has been co-opted by the oligarchs over time. When they neutralize our vocabulary or render it useless, it makes it impossible to organize or evangelize. Sort of like the Tower of Babel, that's what happened to our political speech. See the word tyrant from the Roman times. It was used to describe rulers who reformed or implemented populist policies.
I see in your Rockfin.
We can circle back to that, but there's like a direct question about Luke Rudkowski. I don't really have an opinion on Luke one way or the other, man. I think he wants to be around for as long as humanly possible, so he's going to take some really easy routes in order to do that from time to time. But overall, I think his heart's in the right place, or at least his head's in the right place. He's just got an entirely different program.
He does go everywhere. He went to Epstein's Island. I see him at the Bilderberg protests. He is involved, and he always wants to be on the scene. And but like you're saying, yeah, he takes easy opportunities. He goes on the big shows. He went on Alex Jones in the past, right? And then he had like some falling out. Well, he's always there. He's at least there. Not everyone is going there. So he wants to be, on it all the time, and that speaks for him. Go ahead.
I think he sells team sport politics a little bit too often, or at least like plays it up a little bit too often. But again, I mean, overall he does really good work.
Yeah. Okay, so I met Luke once. He only had a camera with him. It had to do with architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth. He has always been on the case of 9/11. And for as long as I can remember, he's been on that case. He was like a little kid still, was already doing it. And so on that subject, I can at least say that he's consistent. He didn't switch, he didn't move away from it, he is still doing it. And I had good talks with him, at least. And yeah, this is a bright fellow. And he's alone all the time. That's what I noticed. He goes to stuff alone. And I mean, for him to show up in Amsterdam suddenly alone with a big camera, it was far too big for him to carry. He just goes alone.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he works and plays well with others.
We don't have AK on, but I mean I know that AK was together with him in the We Are Change stuff, so he would be able to say more
Yeah.
about that. But
Yeah, so was Burmese for a little bit.
yeah, yeah. He would know far more about that. We had a We Are Change chapter here. Yeah, there's not much left of that, I think. They do still publish on a Facebook page, We Are Change Holland, but not really active anymore. I'm not sure what's up with that now, but it was very powerful at some moment. I mean, it was a good movement. I noticed there were a lot of libertarians involved, at least in here too, and it's interesting stories these people had. They're all about getting rid of the fiat currencies and going into back then silver and gold and stuff, saying like we have to make we can't trust the bankers because the bankers they print this fake money and it's all useless and stuff, and it's pretty much the stuff we would go ahead.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
They don't even like really print it that much anymore.
No, it's all computer stuff. Yeah. It's hooked to their ATMs. I don't know, are there any other questions? Oh, Janny Butcher says he just started a website so he can say things he can't say on ScrewTube. Yeah, I don't know.
It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't. If YouTube wants to find a reason to remove his channel, they are going to.
They will.
We just went over this. Yeah, fucking, like, seriously, Kit Cabello, like, self-censored his entire channel, went out of his way to not run afoul of the YouTube censor demons, and they got him. They got Harlan's Media for denying that Joe Biden was president in a video titled "Now Joe Biden is President."
Yeah.
Yeah.
YouTube is just showing its power. Like this is what they're the biggest platforms, and so they think they can do everything. So that's why we always say like we have to do decentralize, right? Like same as with Twitter, you can keep your Twitter, but you have to just also move to Mastodon and to other places. Decentralize it, and then at some point, if enough people decentralize, then the social media actually get the incentive. They get pushed to actually do effort to keep you on it. I'm thinking about same as with YouTube. If people decentralize to Rockfin and Vimeo and other places, if enough people do it, you don't even have to leave YouTube yet, but you create the incentive that they treat their users better, because that's what they are built on their users. And I know very well that YouTube was ran by these guys before it was part of Google. YouTube was ran by a few guys, and they sold it to Google for $3 billion, if I'm correct, back then. And before it was sold to Google, it never made a single buck of profit. It was all a losing business, and the only reason it was worth $3 billion is because of the amount of users, and Google was willing to pay money for the reach on that platform. So the users were the value, And if you decentralize and it loses active users, and they see other places getting the users, it's going to change things. Pretty sure of that.
All right. Well, thanks y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, okay. So if you stay with us, if you listen to all of this, please, and you liked it, please, please share it around, and we'll be, yeah, back again. I know AK wants to go live tonight about something. Let me see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he sent me something. Let me see. He said,
I mean, we if that's the case, then we won't do a slow news day, and I'll just pop on for a little bit tonight. We can go into the whole thing with Raul and Whitney and this incredibly fantastical conspiracy theory where a handful of content creators somehow traveled back into time to create a streaming platform in order to gain control of and manipulate the cryptocurrency market solely based on interviews with Whitney Webb. It's fascinating, and
Bro, it's just.
and we're at the heart of it. So we live in a fucking cartoon.
yeah, we do. Yeah, well, ABB. I mean, we broadcast also on your Rockfin, right? At Rockfin at Slow News Day. People can find it. So.
It is true.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this is about AK. He wants to go live about something called a guy named Danzinger, and he won an extraordinary
Okay.
victory over Chevron in New York Federal Appeals Court, and he wants to cover all of this tonight.
Okay.
Ah, okay.
Steven Donziger, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that should be interesting.
Oh, and Candace Owens has picked up and ran with Aaron Mate's phrase "Blue Anon."
Ugh.
So Aaron Mate gave Candace Owens her new favorite fucking catchphrase, and that's just the world we live in.
Blue Anon. What is it?
Yeah. We're at the intersection of Aaron Mate and Candace Owens for Duncan on shit libs. Oh, the Urban Dictionary scrubbed Blue Anon, censored Blue Anon. Blue Anon censored from the Urban Dictionary. Are
From
you
Urban fucking Dictionary?
according to Anthony Scannell in the Rockband chat? Yeah. If it's Scannell, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm fucking horrible with this shit.
Urban Dictionary. Yeah.
Blue Anon. Too hot for the Urban Dictionary. You can legit read about some of the most vile and disgusting sex acts ever conceived from this point to the Roman Empire on Urban Dictionary. But Blue Anon.
Yeah, an Urban Dictionary never approved the definition that I tried to put on there.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, that's not the case, Jack Pasovic. The Urban Dictionary will, in real time, prevent you from adding some definitions.
Yeah. Urban Dictionary. If you're listening to this.
Republican sticks. Of course it does. Of course it does. Blue Anon, too hot for the Urban Dictionary. I swear. That is fucking just right on brand, unfortunately. Right the fuck on brand. Yeah. Fantastic. Or you fuck I
Cartoon.
So of course it's trending on Twitter. Of course it is. Because why wouldn't it be? Because I mean, is what I guarantee you that more people have paid attention to the 6 things that were removed from the Dr. Seuss collection in the last 2 weeks than they ever have in their entire fucking lives. Guaranteed. They were trying to cancel fucking Speedy Gonzalez the other day. And Latinos love Speedy Gonzalez. Cultural icon. I'm not making that up. Yeah. 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 Fucking campus Marxists that turn into fucking shit libs ruin everything.
Hey, but what is the meaning of Blue Anon? Is that like a Democrat supporting Anon, or?
No. Like QAnon. Blue Anon, QAnon. 2 sides of the same cuckoo conspiracy coin. Because on one side you've got QAnon, on the other side you've got Russiagate. And it's the same funneling of counter-reinforcing propaganda that get people to support one half of the state as it was as it were God.
Yeah. Okay, well, I've seen them around, the Blue Wave Anons at least. A number of Anons pushing Blue Wave stuff.
Oh,
Just
that's garbage. And
Yeah.
they need to have a sit down.
Yeah, but they know that, and I mean, already said it to them, and usually they do switch after a while. But yeah, it is garbage, of course. Well, who goes into partisan politics like that? They
I mean, they're you know, so many people for every one Keith McHenry for Food Not Bombs, you get however many hundreds of or thousands of fucking like just decrepit, rancid, dead-eyed servants of the state like Nancy Pelosi who laugh into a camera, but I got protest signs in my basement. Fuck you, peasant.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, we'll go live later today, I guess, and yeah, thanks everyone for listening.
And make sure to spam neuter your pets and politicians.
It's true.
Yeah.